What's going on, everybody? Kluya here. Last episode we left off where we fought the antlion, got the sand ruby, and we healed Rose's fever, to which she then decided she would join the party. So now we have a healer, and we are on our way to Fabul to get there before Golbez shows up with the Red Wings to steal the Kingdom's Crystal. So we're going to hop in the hovercraft that Edward let us use, and we're going to head to the north and then to the east, which is where I believe it's Mount Hobbs is. Was playing some Street Fighter 5, did really well tonight, getting used to it. I just started playing Street Fighter 5, played a ton of Street Fighter 4, and there's some different mechanics and all that, but went 5-0 tonight in ranked, so not too shabby, but it's time to relax and get back to Final Fantasy 4. So we're going to park out here, save real quick, and we're going to head up. So as mentioned earlier in the previous video, there's a wall of ice here that is blocking us off, and Rosa expects her to just use fire magic with no problem, but because of the bomb that was delivered to Rydia's village, she's kind of traumatized by fire. In fact, as she's been leveling, she learns all the other elemental spells except for fire at this point, up to this point. Which comes in handy, not only to get to this obstacle, but because most, not all, but most undead enemies are weak to fire, and they start showing up in more numbers, so it's handy to have that. Alright, let's press on. Get a random encounter right off the bat. Now, if Rosa has a bow, she does get the aim feature, which lets her her accuracy goes up, as aim would indicate, and she hits pretty hard, especially against flying enemies. If you have a staff, she just simply loses the aim ability. And apparently there's a new Java update available. We have some iconic Final Fantasy bombs here. The gray bombs have slightly more health, but other than that, not too much difference among them. Got a save point here to the south with 3 chests. 4 chests, sorry about that. Some money, some tents, which always comes in handy. Actually, you know what? We'll just save really quick. Pop some potions really quick. Now for the first time through this playthrough, don't know if you just noticed that there, Edward did get low on health, so he used his auto hide ability, which just prevents him from taking fatal damage. So we have the last treasure chest of this climb. Just got some holy arrows, and it looks like there is a character up these stairs. He says achoo, and I swear, I mean, you would think he's sneezing, but I think it's just, you know, like a martial arts noise or something like that. But he dispatches these monsters with ease. And then the game does a auto-play to show off Yang's abilities. And basically in this version, Yang can either attack, or he can do the kick ability, which attacks, it's a AoE. It does melee damage to all the enemies on the screen. Unfortunately, it's typically too weak to utilize, so it's usually much more efficient to just attack like one specific target. So we go to help out Yang with this Mom Bomb. This fight, we're basically just going to attack with Edward, Yang, and Cecil, while Rydia and Rosa act as healing backups. Now Rosa already learned Cure 2 from the recent fight. And unfortunately, Yang does not start with 2 claws for his weapon, so he only attacks once, but later on we'll get him a second claw and he will attack twice. Now the Mom Bomb has blown up. Technically hasn't blown up yet. It has raged into this form, and when you deal sufficient damage, it will blow up into 8 mini bombs. The 8? 6 or 8. There we go, exploding. So we kind of bait out that explosion, and we'll give everyone a good heal. So there's 6. There's 3 grenades and 3 bombs. Or gray bombs. And we'll just take them out one by one. We can call on a Chocobo to dispatch one of the gray ones quickly. And Chocobo will one-shot these smaller bombs. Keep everyone pretty healthy. And just like that, fight's done. 600 bucks, 500 XP. Looks like Cecil grabbed a level. Yang introduces himself, talks about how they're on their way to Fabul, which is where Yang is from. They kind of catch him up on Golbez's intentions of stealing the crystal, which is the crystal of air. And for the first time, we have a full party, 5 members. And the plot suggests that the monsters that we just fought were sent by Golbez to distract us while they attacked the kingdom. So everyone introduces themselves, and with a mutual reason to fight together. Yang joins. Now they call him a karate man. Don't know if that's just bad translation. He is a monk. So now we're on the east side of the mountain, which we will descend, pick up a few treasure chests, and then make our way east. And we're out. So we're going to continue east, try to pick up some random encounters while we're here. It's such a small and trivial touch to the game, but I like that if you're in the woods, the background changes when the encounters begin. See, what level is Yang? So they gave Yang to us at level 10. So he just quickly gained a level. Pretty good XP. Rydia picks up a level. Let's use some of these potions, get everyone healthy again. Oh, looks like she only needed one. Alright, cool. So there is the castle, but we're going to do a few more encounters just to get some extra XP and money real quick. Yang gets another level up. Poor Edward, let's get him up. I guess he took kind of a beating during that last encounter with the bombs. And let's get some more fights in. Let's just actually check the status of Rose. I'd like to get her another level. 14, 15. Let's get Yang one more level. Head out. Now, kind of like the antlion, these needlers, when you physically attack them, they counterattack with needles. So other than that, today was a very exciting day. Over in California, there was a major Crystal Cup that was concluding the Final Fantasy TCG, and they had 132 players, which is absolutely insane. When I hosted my tournament in Lake Mary, Florida, we had about 38 players, and I thought that was like insane. I thought the place was packed, but 132 players is really awesome. So really happy for them over there. It's really good for the game to see big numbers like that. You know, you have people from other TCGs or just whatever that have kind of written the Final Fantasy game off, saying it's dying or whatever, but clearly with a tournament like that, it's not. The game's just, it's getting bigger and it's expanding, and the sets just keep adding more and more flavor and great content to the game already. Alright, let's check on Yang. 339, so yeah, just a few more. Now, despite the fact that we're using most of Rose and Rydia's MP, as soon as we get into the castle, we can rest out. So there's Yang's other level. Let's check on Rosa. 227, we can pull that off real fast. There's Rosa's extra level. She learns Mute. Mute is silence. Prevents the enemy from casting magic. So we're gonna save it real quick. Got a healthy amount of gil right now, about 20 grand. And let's go in. Now this, which you would figure with Yang coming from, this kingdom is well known for its monks. And all of its martial artists. So first thing we're gonna do is pop in the inn to get all our MP back. All these shelves, they don't always have them, but sometimes when you search them you can get like an ether or a phoenix down, which in this version is called a life, or you get like an elixir. I'm gonna get 2/10. Actually, let's check how many lives we have. Only 2. Yeah, let's pick up some more of those sort of things. Lives or Phoenix Downs aren't that expensive, so we are going to pick up 10. That's good. Now, earlier I was explaining that Yang uses claws, which they conveniently sell here, as well as the rest of Cecil's upgraded armor. So let's upgrade Cecil, and most enemies around this area are weak to thunder, so we will pick up a couple of those. Actually, let's get one of those. I'm trying to remember. No, we'll just go with 2. So let's get Cecil hooked up. And I believe, because we haven't upgraded it pretty much ever, I don't think, you get his shield from this castle upstairs. So let's get Yang. So he comes with a fire claw, but let's give him thunder. And we should be good to go. So we're going to save one more time, because we're about to engage in a series of battles and quote cutscenes. So let's go say what's up to the king. Yang introduces the group, tells them about us giving assistance on the mountain, tells them all about Golbez. So, as pointed out earlier, between Edward and Yang's conversation and then here with the king, I think it's Damascene, that kingdom and this one have a pretty close bond. Which pretty much seals the deal and convincing them that it's in their best interest to let us help them defend the crystal. So unfortunately at this point we do lose Rosa and Rydia. And no long drawn out dramatics, just straight up Rosa tells him to take care, and Cecil says the same. And then we wait. And there's the scout, and they say that the Red Wings are approaching. Here comes the first wave, and this is pretty much how it goes down. There's just a multitude of waves that come by, group by group. Now, if you remember earlier, when we first got Rydia, you can either kill the two fighters and then the general runs away, or you can kind of stick it out. You kill the general and one fighter and you get much more XP. Takes longer, but it's worth it. There we go. Yeah, instead of like 200 XP, you get about 476. There you go. The Red Wings start dropping explosives onto the castle, which means they can't really stay outside, so they fall back. I always like that little scout flip. And I always felt bad for these guys that get left behind. After this battle, you'll see the two NPCs just kind of get left there to fight off monsters. They're gonna be left behind, they just get shanked right there while you're watching. Oh, here they are, these two guys. Yeah. So the king has already fallen back to safe quarters with the women and children. And then Yang says to smash the monsters. So we're gonna do this trick again where we only kill one fighter and then go after the general. So Edward unfortunately died. It's really not that big of a deal though. He's just not doing any damage. He gets hit like he's made out of glass. He's just not really needed. And to be honest with that, Yang and Cecil get more XP. So after locking the door, this guard opens the door, but it's actually a monster in disguise, which is one of the gargoyles we were fighting earlier from Mount Hobbs. So Edward trips, which causes a delay, so we're gonna do this encounter one more time. So now we've fallen back to the crystal room, which is pretty much the last stand. And Kane has returned. Except he doesn't seem too friendly. Cecil says, fight with us, but then Kane says, sure I will, but against you. Now, this encounter is pretty strange. You do get all your health back, but there is absolutely no way you can win this fight. Even if you get a scratch or two on him, he just jumps, which usually evades your attacks, and he just hits you way too hard. Now Cecil can just tell that Kane is not being himself. So he says you are under Golbez's, and then Kane is about to kill him. Yang intercedes. And then Rosa and Rydia have arrived. Now, as soon as Rosa walks in, she sets him straight and says, you know, just look at me, you don't know what you're doing. And then Kane says, don't look at me. Because Kane has a very strong emotional infatuation with Rosa, but it's a very kind of hidden thing because of Cecil's relationship with her. But enough of that nonsense. Here comes Golbez with his Imperial March music. I actually love this music for him. So Golbez introduces himself. So Yang and Edward challenge Golbez, which isn't very successful as they just get undoggled across the room. Golbez instructs Kane to take the crystal. Surprised they didn't like capture Cecil as well. Now Cecil panics because Golbez goes for Rosa, and he kidnaps her, which really sucks because I really like when Rosa's in the party, and she's the healer, so yeah, that's pretty inconvenient. So things not looking too great. Just lost Rosa, and we unsuccessfully defended the castle's crystal. Thankfully, Rydia gets us all back to full health. Look here. And it's time to lick our wounds. So everyone's frowny face, and Rydia says, enough of that emo garbage. It's time to get Rosa back, and we can get the crystal as well. Yang promises to help the party out and get Rosa back. Cecil says thank you, and I have regained control of the party yet again. Let's move Edward down, since he's ranged. Alright, so we're back in the throne room. The king has been wounded, so he's resting in his bedroom. Alright, so while he is upstairs, we are going to hit this button to go treasure hunting. Oh, there's the shield. If anyone gets an upgrade upstairs, it's probably the sword. Can't remember if there's something in this pot. Let's check. Yep. Potion in the pot. Now, if memory serves me correctly, I believe Yang's wife is up here, so we're gonna stop by and say hello. $500 in that pot. Oh no, this tower actually has the king's room, which I always thought it was interesting that right downstairs from the king's bedroom is a tavern. I mean, I guess that can be convenient. So we open the chest and get a tent. The king says we have to do something, but right now we should not worry and rest. And then the queen says the king, I think it's the queen, can't really tell. There's a woman in his room, so who knows. But the king used to be a great karate fighter also. So everyone in this place is a monk. So for the story to continue, we go outside, or not rather outside, we go downstairs and we have to go to the inn. Yang, you must be very tired, please rest here. So you get all your HP and MP back for free. Cecil says we need an airship. Baron is the only one who has it. Can't we sneak in, Yang says. And Cecil talks about how even though their air force is the strongest in the world, their sea power is lacking. Yang says they will ask the king to borrow a ship so they can sneak in. And with that, we're back to the king. And in giving thanks for trying to protect the kingdom, the king arranges a ship. And then he says, Cecil, take this sword. A dark knight who came to Fabul left us long ago. Which always got me wondering, like, who that was, or if it was, like... I mean, again, this was my first Final Fantasy, so it was... I was always wondering if in an earlier Final Fantasy or something, or if there was, like, a manga or a book or something, where there was, like, a different Dark Knight who showed up. But... And he states it will not work against the true evil. So there's our sword upgrade. Tells us to go to the east, and then we'll get on the ship there. So a pretty significant upgrade as far as Cecil's melee capabilities go. And we're gonna go to the left tower real quick. Got some pots and treasure chests. I mean, tents aren't cheap, so the fact that we've been picking up some for free is pretty handy. This is the infirmary. Haven't talked about this guy yet. He is the famous naming way. If you ever want to change the name of your characters, obviously you talk to him and you can do that. He shows up here as well as in a bunch of other towns. He's usually in just like random locations within the towns. He was also a minion that came with the encyclopedia, or is it the Eorzea encyclopedia? For Final Fantasy 14. So we bump into Yang's wife. She talks about how soldiers came upstairs, but she beat them with a frying pan, so... Nothing too important, but... She has some cool items for you later on. It's time to head out, and we're gonna try to sneak into Baron. So let's save it. All aboard. The group says farewell to Yang's wife as we cast off. So we're not really that far from Baron, so it's not the longest trip. Should be a pretty smooth ride. This part is controlled by the AI, I don't control this. But it was pretty cool because this is the first time you're moving so rapidly. On water, no less. So throughout this trip, they're basically just making their plans that once they reach the shore, how are they going to actually break in. Cecil suggests that they find Sid, because he is the expert of the airships. So if they're going to actually hijack one, he would be a good source of information. Something's going down. Now again, I've said this a few times, when I was first playing this part freaked me out pretty bad. Because you don't have control over the ship, so now there's this giant whirlpool that's sucking the ship in, and now there's a monster that shows up. And it is none other than Leviathan. Which he looks pretty crazy here. Now, as long as I don't lose any more party members, I'll be pretty happy. And Rydia goes overboard, and Yang after her. So the ship's pretty much just getting all messed up by Leviathan right now. Edward looks like he just fell. And that's that for our little voyage. So Cecil is waking up on a beach now. And he is all by himself. So at this point, it looks like we are, as Cecil just stated, all alone. We have lost Yang, Rydia, and Edward, but thankfully we've washed up right next to a village. And on that note, that is where we will be ending this part. Just a couple of key things. As you may have noticed, I am kind of narrating as I play. Because for some people, they may have never played Final Fantasy IV, and this is their first time through, so I don't want to just bombard the narration with spoilers and stuff like that, so it kind of adds a bit of, I guess, like a narration, an element of that to talk along with it. Something else I was going for was, during the playthrough, you may not be watching. Like, you may be at work and you're just listening, or you may just have it on your phone and you're just listening, or just whatever. So I kind of do it in a way so that if you're just listening, you kind of have an idea of what's going on. A combination of the game sound effects, the music, and the narration that I'm providing for it. So hopefully that helps. Just something I enjoy doing. So, hope you liked the video. In the next episode, we are going to find out what this village is all about. I would assume we're going to get at least one new party member, because I'm all by myself right now. But with that, Golbez is still out there going after all the crystals, and I'm out of a ship. So, thanks for watching, and see you next time.